Hi guys! Today we're doing something different.
A little bit.
Welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, which is the clues normally in the name. But today we're trying something new and going to be discussing a new series that's launched on Netflix, which you probably know already from the title of the video. Is
STD.
shit, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Nice one, lads.
Star Trek Discovery.
Yes,
Now, to give a bit of context here, you love Star Trek.
I do.
I was about to say in all forms, but probably not. We'll get into that in a minute.
Most.
Yeah. I am a casual consumer of Star Trek stuff. So I've watched original Star Trek films, seen some original Star Trek series, seen bits of others when they've been on TV and I can't be bothered to change the channel. But I have watched Discovery, the first episode.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be. I've seen the first two, but we're only going to be discussing the first one. Really.
Okie dokie. So this is a new thing for us. So please let us know what you think about talking TV series, which isn't necessarily gaming related at all. So
There are Star Trek games.
I know there are Star Trek games, but we're talking about TV series.
Yes.
Because it's something we like to do is watch a lot of Netflix stuff and discuss how good and bad and shit and great it is. So Lee, off you go.
Okay, so Star Trek Discovery is initially done by CBS, and it's basically a method for them to sell their streaming service. Because only the first episode was actually shown on network TV, and the second one was on their streaming service, and all subsequent ones will be on that. We're lucky; we're getting it on Netflix. I already pay for Netflix, so I get it for free. That's fine. But that's a bit cynical in my book. Now, I think Netflix has helped fund it as well, though.
Well, they've done a lot of funding with their original stuff, haven't
Yeah.
they? Is this classed as a Netflix original?
I think
I know
it
it's
is.
not because of Star Trek. But
Yeah, but I think it does have the little logo on it.
yeah.
I think.
And I have to say, from outside of the whole Star Trek thing, Netflix has done an amazing job in recent years of just investing in creative, like, new endeavours of TV series and films and stuff. And it's not like the kind of shit you'd expect from a homegrown, Netflix value.
Except the Adam Sandler movies.
But there's a couple of bits on there that have been really fantastic and engaging. And I think with Star Trek Discovery, it's just a probably bit of funding rather than creative control.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, my first impressions of Discovery were kind of, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, for looks-wise, it is shot and photographed and CGI'd magnificently. You can really see the money on the screen.
Yep.
There are more in-depth concerns I have about it. My first concern is the licensing, because they've got the Star Trek license via Bad Robot, who are the guys that did the movies with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, recent ones, yeah.
And that's a different universe. It's split off when Nero came back and killed Kirk's dad, so it's referred to as the Kelvin timeline, which was the name of the ship that Nero destroyed. And then the other timeline, where you have DS9, TNG, all of that lot, that's called the Prime timeline. And this one, even though it's got the rights via the Kelvin universe, is set in the Prime universe.
Do we need a whiteboard for this?
You may need a whiteboard for this. you will definitely need a whiteboard for my further comments.
Okay, to translate into layman's terms, they have the rights for one universe of stuff, and they're cross-matching with the other one, so that doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yes, nothing looks the same. In the advertising, it said 10 years before the Enterprise, Kirk and Spock. That's a lot of different time that you're referring to there, because the Enterprise had completed 3 5-year missions already by the time Kirk got it, and Spock was on the third one of those as well. So that's not 10 years before then. That's
So do you think they're going to rectify that, or they can't, or what?
well, how are they going to rectify it? It's already in.
It was all a dream.
Oh God, yeah, probably. So that is obviously bad. Now I understand also it looks a lot different, which I understand you have to update. You can't have like shitty 60s original series sets.
But that was the problem with the Enterprise series, wasn't it?
Enterprise actually did a really good job with their sets, because they made it seem modern but sort of downgraded as much as it could without being stupid.
Right. But that's the thing I kind of imagine, because the original Star Trek series was obviously like what the future was like in the 60s, and then you have a series like made in the 2000s, I think,
Yeah.
That was trying to be before that, and it was just a bit of a. It didn't make sense to me.
No, I thought they did a really good job in sort of making it look not antiquated, but like as modern as the time period would allow. So if you could imagine like being in their time period from our period, that may be about right. I mean, the 60s one is, yeah, the 60s one. It's iconic, but it doesn't make a lot of sense from progression of technology.
But on a side note, obviously Star Trek has given the ideas from sci-fi angles to give real things in the real world.
Oh yeah, flip phones, communicators, anyone?
Automatic doors.
Yep.
GPS.
They don't have men stood either side of them, like in the original series, pulling them apart. Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic.
It does. Discovery does use the same sound effect for doors, though.
It does, yeah. And
I did notice
some
that.
of the weapon sound effect they use in particularly the second episode was taken as well from other properties. So they are trying to be consistent in that manner, but I mean everything just looks super futuristic, and they have hollow communicators as well.
Yeah.
Which they only introduced in a later season of DS9, like 200 years later, and they were still having problems getting it running.
So Discovery is based before the Scott Bakula Enterprise, is it?
After. So it's between Enterprise and the original series.
Right.
Now this is probably why they didn't go with the Kelvin timeline, because this is actually set before the Kelvin was destroyed. So there was
if you've fallen asleep by now, it's time to wake up.
Wakey.
But yeah.
I'm about to talk about Klingons.
Oh yeah, I really like them.
Yeah.
Only because he hates them.
I hate them. I really don't like the Klingons. They don't act like Klingons. They have corpses on their ships when Klingons didn't really care about the corpses of their dead.
I'm going to have nerd alert flash up
yes.
underneath the screen.
They do speak Klingon, but because of all the prosthetics, they speak Klingon like they got a cock in their mouth. That's about right.
Well, yes.
They look more reptilian than Klingon. It's like, okay, the Klingon design's changed. Like originally you had like the smooth forehead guys.
See, right, here's the thing from a layman's term.
Okay.
Right. For me, Klingons, the classic hairy head, like big faceplate type Klingon, remind me of an armadillo.
A little bit.
Right. These ones in Discovery just look like a wrinkly egg. Like.
Yeah.
It's like they've got the ridges, but it's in the wrong shape, and they haven't got any hair.
And they have like weird ears and
they've got.
teeth and
do you remember
multiple nostrils?
Do you remember that film with was it Lopez did The Cell?
The Cell, yes.
Yeah, it's that suit she was wearing, the red kind of heart fibre stuff.
Can't remember it that well.
She had this suit that was it looked like fibrous strands of stuff, right, when she was in her dream thingy, going into the dreams. And that's what they wear in this. Klingons are wearing these weird, frilly, like,
the costumes
ruffles, whatever they're called.
Completely impractical for a warrior race.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like many people fighting in that because they'd be like, oh, I can't bend.
Yeah, because they literally look like they're doing this all the time. It's like some kind of bad theatre production.
And so I don't like the Klingons. I don't think there was any reason to redesign them other than the fact they couldn't use the original designs because they don't have the rights, which is probably why they've done it. And they do look a lot more like the Klingons from the Kelvinverse, which we saw in the second movie.
Which is the one they got the rights to?
Yep.
Right, okay.
But they're not the same as them either. I mean, they had like the ridges and they had like piercings on each one. It was kind of weird and unnecessary, but there you go.
So Star Trek. What? That's just to inflame the audience. Sorry, didn't mean it.
And I don't like the protagonist either. I don't like Burnham. I don't like Michael Burnham, which I don't understand why.
Why have they got a woman called Michael? I
heard a rumour she was going to be transgender. But I think it's just the Vulcans playing a trick on her, basically.
The thing is, even in the first episode, you'd expect something like that to have a little bit of a little suggestion why she's called Michael.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
A little quip or something like, "Oh, who chose that? Your mum or whatever." I don't know, something stupid to say like, "Why your name is strange?" I'm just saying your name is strange for them, the audience.
Or maybe it's like Data's cat, who he calls Spot because that's a dog's name. Sarek raised her, so she's kind of like a robot.
Oh yeah, they've got this. What do you know? What race he's supposed to be?
Vulcan.
He's Vulcan, but he's got the weird. Oh no, Sarek is the Vulcan guy.
Is the
I thought you meant it was the
guy
guy with the blue eyes in the thingy. Sorry, I was got mixed up there.
Why isn't the thing?
The one that I can sense to.
Oh, Saru.
Yeah, see, Sarek. It's easy mistake to make.
Yeah, Saru's probably the best thing on the show. He's this negative motherfucker, and I just like that.
No, actually, as a character, he reminds me of the fish doctor bloke from Hellboy.
That's probably because he's played by Doug Jones, who also played him.
But he has the same characteristic as a character, which is nice to know. I picked that one to compare him to, but yeah, he had the same kind of I got softly spoken, but I'm really scared.
Yeah, it's just Starfleet. I mean, like in the first 5 minutes, they break the Prime Directive.
And they also shove it down your throat to make sure you recognise that it's Star Trek.
Yeah.
From my limited knowledge, it was like, oh yes, remember that's the Prime Directive. Oh yes, we got to do that. It was just like, ram it down your throat. You must understand. This is the pilot.
And I don't really understand why she felt it necessary to mutiny.
Yeah, and rather than going, we should have said there might be some spoilers in here.
Yes, well, it's been up on network TV and on Netflix for free for a while now, so
I'll make sure I put spoilers in the title.
Yeah, put spoilers in the title, just in case.
Because the other thing I wanted to mention is the Vulcan, what do they call it? The Vulcan grip touch.
Yeah, it's a nerve pinch.
Nerve pinch. But she manages to do that and she's not Vulcan. But then it wears off in 3 minutes.
Yeah, she did it shittily, so maybe a actual Vulcan would be able to do it. But I mean, we know humans have trouble with it because McCoy couldn't do it when he had Spot's cutter in him in Vulcan 3. Vulcan 3? Star Trek 3.
But in your other argument, that's a different universe.
Yes, that would have been, it.
So that doesn't apply.
About it.
I've just out-tracked you.
I mean, you've walked further. Yeah. That's not hard.
But I think the series could improve. I mean, the first episode is good enough, but I think if it wasn't, like you said to me the other day, if it wasn't Star Trek,
I would like it better.
Yeah, and I think that's right, because if you didn't have the Star Trek on it, it's a bit like The Expanse. Right, The Expanse is another series on Star Trek. I really like that series.
No, it's not. Another series on Star Trek.
Star Trek, Netflix. It's another series that's really, really good, and it's kind of set in it feels a very kind of open and expansive universe based between Mars and Earth, and there's lots of kind of politics going on. But the Discovery could end up like that. It's got that same kind of feel and quality.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got the first 2 episodes. We're not discussing the second one, but the Discovery or main crew of the Discovery don't feature in either of them. These first 2 episodes serve more as a prologue to the actual series. Which
is something I absolutely despise in current series, to stop doing it. I don't want to have all this preamble because you're too lazy to develop a character. Like, don't give me all the fucking exposition in 2 or 3 episodes and then start the series that's only then about 7 episodes long. Well, really pisses me off.
The problem is, how else are they going to do it? Most of the time they would do it with like a text crawl at the start, and everybody hates that.
No, you just do it organically with the characters. You can establish them. You can bring in things to make you understand what kind of character that is without going through the whole backstory, because I don't need that shit. That's stuff you could make into a further episode down the line. It could start off with just maybe the last half of that first episode of setting off shit that's going to carry on through the series, and then bring in the characters that are the actual fucking series.
Yeah, Jason Isaacs has not appeared yet.
So I'm not impatient. I want you to make a series that's worth watching rather than just spoon feeding me the information of this. Okay, this is the captain person. This is the evil one, and I don't need that shit. That's lazy in my book. And Star Trek has got some good stuff behind it. It's got a huge fucking plethora of universe, no pun intended, to work from. And it's just cheap. Like, a small indie film might need to do more of that because you don't know what's going on. You don't need these things like, oh, but that's the Prime Directive shit. You don't need that in a Star Trek series. Why am I ranting more than you?
I don't know. I'm being quite reasonable, I feel.
The thing is, I really love Netflix's commitment to doing lots of these original things and getting stuff out that wouldn't normally get a voice, and extending series that people love that have been canned elsewhere. I love that stuff, and big ups to Netflix for doing that. But this, I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you separate it from Star Trek, it would be a much better show, because we wouldn't have like 60 years of like produce to sort of point out and say, well, this isn't right because this happened here, and this isn't right because this was there. I mean, at the time they're talking about, the Enterprise is flying around. They're flying around in completely different uniforms. What?
I mean, what happens if Star Trek goes on for so long, far past when we die, and it ends up being the year when it's supposed to be? Like we've seen with a lot of films that say 1999 and
Back to the Future 2, that happened last year, wasn't it?
No, it's 2015, isn't it?
Was it 2015? God, that fucking flew.
Because he went from 1985 to
No, yeah.
But
no hoverboard, so
no, oh, no, there are.
No, they don't really work very well, do they?
They do on metal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, the fact is that this stuff, if it carries on to a point where it's actually the real time, it would feel really old. But if they were just continuing to go forward in time, it might be more exciting with newer technology and going crazy and having different shaped humans and
yeah, it would be nice to like see a series set like after Voyager, which was the last one they did. But I don't think that will ever happen. I think they're sort of, if they wanted it to happen, they would have offered the rights to the prime timeline. And it's not. I mean, they just want to make. I mean, it's we've got like people from the movies involved with it. So I mean, there's lots of lens flares. It looks very similar to the movies. It does look good, and as I've said, it's fine. And there were parts I liked about it, but knowing about all the backstory and the history that we've previously had from the show, and then trying to fit this in somehow, it hurts. It's like even the change of the Klingons, having like them looking like Mongolians or something in the original series compared to like the warrior crusty headed version that we got first in the motion picture, I think. They actually explain that in an episode of Enterprise. So there is I mean, it's not a great reason, but there is an in-universe canon reason for them to look like that. And now they suddenly look different again, and we're like, well, why do you look like that?
Well, maybe it's a decision was made for the wrong reasons at the wrong time.
They kind of look sort of like a further evolution, if you like. It's almost like, okay, we got the flat-faced chaps, we got the crusty head guys, and now we got these guys. It looks like sort of, if you were to look at it sort of in that manner.
Yeah, they have a more like elegant look, don't they?
Over designed, I would say.
Well, maybe, yeah, but not with the actual the biology of the face and the head, but what they're wearing their ship look like. You know, I remember in some films where a Klingon ship is a dirty ass, nasty place.
Yeah, it should be like rusted green.
Yeah, and all shitty and crappy.
And like the floors are just metal grills.
Or with a bit of goo on it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like ornate, beautiful kind of craftsmanship, and their suits look really. I remember I saw a clip when I was watching it. They had these horns coming up from their shoulders, and they had like pointed gems on them, and stuff like that. Like that's some kind of noble class of Klingon. And I don't know. I prefer the original, like the classic
TNG
from
stuff.
Yes, yeah, from like Worf and stuff like that.
That's it. That
to me is what a Klingon looks like and sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, as I said though, it may be because of the licensing rights they had to change them, but I mean, they could have used the Klingons from the movies, and I would have been happy with that because they weren't as far away from that design.
I'll have to see how it goes. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm still going to watch it. I mean, they may through some writing miracle explain most of the complaints, but they've put themselves in a really tough position to do so.
Okay, is there any other rants you want to go on? Just to make sure we've filled out the ranting. Because I feel bad that when we sat down, I was like, you can rant. Off you go.
I'll just sit back and listen. In fact, he did sit back and listen, and then he started ranting as well.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't really care that much.
I mean, I didn't mind watching it, but it's going to have to work to really get me invested in it. If I had to like subscribe to CBS Access to like watch it, I wouldn't either.
No, Netflix makes things easy.
Yeah, the fact that we're getting it on a service we've already paid for, I'll watch it and see what we get. I wouldn't pay for it.
And I've always thought that Netflix was a bit lacking in content on the UK side. I know Netflix is a huge thing over in the US.
Yeah, they got so much more than us. It's annoying.
So for us, it's over in the UK. It's been difficult to justify it. especially when we have Amazon Prime that offers the same kind of service with sort of more relative and current topical stuff. New releases of films, maybe a few months old or something like that.
Yeah, and they're knocking it out of the park with their original series as well.
Yeah. I mean, both are doing good with their original series, but I think Netflix is more expanded. And for me, Amazon Prime has things like *Halt and Catch Fire*, *Preacher*, stuff that I've been enjoying. But *Preacher's* a whole different video.
Yeah, perhaps we could do a different.
Yeah, if you want to hear our thoughts on *Preacher*, then let us know.
Because we are comic book veterans in the *Preacher* series.
Love it, but we're not going to say any more.
Yeah, we're not.
If you want to see it, let us know down in the comments, and like the video, obviously, and subscribe if you haven't already. That's an obvious one. That just helps us. But especially let us know what you think of this style of video, because it's not just a traditional overbite gaming video. It's to do with film and TV.
Overbite at the movies, or at the Netflix couch.
Over popcorn or something. I don't know. Wait, let's know what we could call this series and we'll change it.
Yeah, we'll change the name.
I have no idea what we could call it.
If it's a series, if you like it enough for it to be a
fuck
series.
it, we're going to do some more.
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to fucking like it.
We're going to jam it down your bloody throat. Just like the Prime directors.
Hey, segue. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about the series. I'll watch some more. I'm not that fussed by it, really. But
yeah, it does. I mean, the only thing I can say is I think a lot of it's over-designed. It's like the Klingon ships. They've just got like bits on bits on bits on bits. There's no like cleanness to the designs. It's like the
it looked like a flat cruiser type thing because it had the long neck and the bit at the front, but it also had like a flat back rather than the bird of prey.
And you had like the jaggedy bits just sticking out. It's like, it's so over-designed. Let's just have a nice clean design of ships, please. So they can be iconic and not a mess.
It would help. But yeah, that's our little review discussion, whatever the fuck this was. So yeah, remember we have videos not necessarily like this, but other gaming content.
Bit of a departure.
But yeah, we have other gaming content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So come along and join us for that.
And if you want to, you can ring that bell to receive notifications, where you will never miss another video and his smiling, lovely face.
You really are rationing out those smiles today, aren't you?
It's stuck.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, guys, take care. See you again soon.
Bye.
Bye. What we got on our pack at the moment? Organic resource. So what can we use for organics?
Common compound can do a beacon. I don't know what that is.
Solar uses compounds. Compounds are stuff we want.
Oh.
Did you get your stuff?
I did not get my stuff. I had very little stuff to get anyway.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah.
Well, that's not going well.